It's kind of like one of the trees that I really like, the Oklahoma variety of Texas redbud that's usually grown in California. Name may be a little bit confusing, but monolavender plectranthus is a wonderful annual. This is the first winter that I've known people that had them survive and come back, but we didn't really have a winter this year, so don't count on it. But this plant is gorgeous in a container or in the ground. It will bloom most heavily fall, spring, and early summer. Once we get into late summer, when the days are really long, you won't get quite as many flowers. But again, in a shady spot, big pots of that are absolutely spectacular. And this is one other plant. Well, I'll mention a couple of other plants. So-called potato vine, Ipomea. It's actually pretty closely related to sweet potatoes and may actually form a potato-like structure underground. But again, something that is beautiful as a foliage. This will grow in full sun, but it also does extremely well in the shade, and it's going to make a real vine. And if you have, like so many homes that were built a number of years ago, they put a planter box along the front, and you want to plant something that will grow and cascade over and hide that ugly brick that everybody thought was cute in the 50s, but really makes your house look like it's 60 years old now. Plant some of this along the front, and it will grow and cascade down. There are a couple of these chartreuse green forms, there are a couple of red-purple forms, and then there's a really delicate-looking tricolor form that's purple and or sort of a pink, purple, and white and green all in the same leaf. Looks extremely delicate. Survives in hot west sun. Really, really tough plants, but anyway, the potato vine is worth knowing about. Yes?
I have different forms of that. I have the oak leaf purple and the chartreuse and stuff, but seem to have a lot of trouble with bugs eating holes in it.
Yeah.
What do you put on that?
Sluggo Plus. Sluggo is a non-toxic bait that kills snails and slugs.
Is that what's doing it? Putting those? It's in the middle of the leaf. It's not.
That and pill bugs.
Okay.
The Sluggo Plus has a spinosad in it that will take care of the pill bugs.
Okay.
So it's one bait you can put out, pretty much take care of all those problems.
Is it a granulated bait type thing?
And totally pet safe.
And children safe?
Nothing is child safe, but anyway, they'd have to eat a lot of it before it would cause them any problems. It's an iron phosphate bait. Shady, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are they kin at all to the morning glory? Because my purple one's blooming with beautiful morning glory lights.
Yeah, they are. Same genus, as a matter of fact. But also same genus as a cypress vine, which doesn't look anything like a morning glory. It's interesting how much plants are classified, not that you have any interest at all in it, but plants are classified according to their flower structure, not their leaf structure. And if you take the most boring college class in the entire world, take plant taxonomy. Don't take it in the morning or you will never stay awake. My two worst college classes were religion at 7 in the morning and plant taxonomy at 9 in the morning. Talk about hard to stay awake in class.
Especially if they turn the lights out.
Yeah. But plants are classified according to their flower structure, not according to their leaves, and that's why we end up with some things that look so different physically that are actually very, very closely kin to each other. It's why the croton, with all its colorful leaves, happens to be first cousin to a poinsettia, happens to be first cousin to a really unusual succulent. We got a bunch of in this week called Euphorbia lactea cristata. Anyway, yes, it is related to the morning glories. Shady areas are also places that you can put some fun things that you would normally grow as pot plants on the patio or as house plants. They'll have to come in, you know, in the winter months. But Rex begonias are just, I mean, what can you say? Put some of those out in your shade garden. Leave them in the pot. And everybody that comes by will want to know what they are. Bromeliads, I used to grow a lot of bromeliads before I realized they took up more space than it was worth having. But put your bromeliads outside in a bed of ground cover and things like that. Absolutely gorgeous color, you know, through the summer months. But be prepared to bring them inside.
I
Yes,
had
sir.
really good luck with amaryllis bulbs in the shade, and they make beautiful flowers. Are there any other bulbs that work well in the shade?
Crinums, virtually all of your crinums will do okay in the shade. There are a couple of forms of Lycoris. Yes, I know it's licorice, but Lycoris is what everybody calls them, that will do well in the shade. And Bulbs that you grow as annuals, such as tulips and hyacinths, will do well for 1 year in the shade. But it's because they grew and developed the bulb in a sunny spot, and then they've got enough energy to last for 1 season in the shade. But a bulb that you can plant that will do fairly well, probably crinums are going to be your other choice that'll do pretty well.
Do you have them here?
We have a few. There are many varieties of crinums, some of which are very expensive. Another plant which actually grows from a tuberous growth, people call it a bulb, but what they call the kaffir lily. With its brilliant, used to all be red, nowadays they come in yellows as well. But Clivia, C-L-I-V-I-A, is its generic name. But Clivia will require winter protection, but incredible flowers. Prettiest one I ever saw was an orchid growing friend had one in a wash tub. It's about this big around. The blooms are brilliant orange red, and they grow on a spike with maybe 15 or 20 flowers on a spike. And his, in this wash tub, had about 15 spikes of flowers on it at one time. And it's a pretty dark green foliage, but they would be a bulb-like plant you could grow there. Do not try to grow agapanthus in the shade. It looks pretty, and you'll have nice foliage, but agapanthus are grown for their flowers, and if you're going to have flowers on agapanthus, you've got to have them out where they get a bunch of sun. Just a couple of other things on growing in the shade. Do watch your watering. It's easy to keep things wetter in the shade because without the bright sun they don't dry out as quickly, so always check the soil between waterings. The same organic fertilizer that works well in the sun. We love the Medina product, what they call Grow and Green, or actually we just call it granular organic. Now we're going to replace that fertilizer by fall. We'll have something that replaces the Medina that'll be even better. And what it's going to be is the Medina with some extra iron and some other things added to it. And guess what? It's going to be a Shades of Green brand, just like we've done. I mean, you know, we talk about this for flowering plants. All this is Rose Glow with some other good things added to it. We find a really outstanding product. We go to the people that make it and say, how can we make it better? Well, Stuart's got a few other things he can add to his granular that we've sold for years. Still be the same price, but if you don't see Medina Granular here come fall, we'll have Medina Granular Plus, so to speak. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
The African iris, does that need a lot of sun?
Needs a lot of sun and a lot of water to do well. Depending on which one. Now, if you're talking about the dietes, the butterfly iris and the bicolor iris, they are not especially water demanding, but they do take a lot of sun to bloom well. The African walking iris needs sun and additional moisture to do well. Yes?
What is that plant?
This plant, they call it toadwort. What do they call it here? Ligularia. That's its botanical name. To me, the jury is still kind of out on it. It's a very interesting foliage, has a very unusual flower periodically. I should have talked about this one, but it's another one that is good for shade if you like the unusual foliage. It looks kind of like a Rex begonia of some sort, but I'm going to grow it for 2 or 3 years before I tell you it's a real good perennial. A lot of people are planting it, and in theory, it probably will do well, but I don't deal much in theory. I like the results before I'm going to tell you that it's a great plant to grow. Yes, sir?
You commented briefly on roses. Is that just no way?
That's just no way. No way. There are roses that will survive a little bit longer in partial shade, but if you want pretty flowers and healthy growth, buy the lot next door, tear the house down, and grow your rose garden. I know a lot of y'all may have places to go. If you have time, at least walk through and look and see what the Humane Society brought today. And let's see, next Saturday morning, a week from today, we will not have a seminar. Next Saturday is the Festival of Flowers out at the Al-Safar Shrine. If you've never been, go. If you've been, I'm sure you want to go back. I'll be broadcasting out there, then I go back a little later in the day to host the Organic Roundtable. But we thought this is one event that we really don't especially want to compete with because unlike the home and garden shows that are 99% crap and 1/2% home and 1/2% garden maybe, this is 100% flowers. Free parking. Downtown you pay $7 to park and who knows how much to get in. Out here you park free and I think pay $5 to get in unless you get a ticket online or something. But anyway, we'll resume the seminars 2 weeks from today.
When is your organic roundtable?
It's either 1 or 2. They haven't told me yet. We'll find out. Howard Garrett won't be here this year. He opted to stay home and play in a golf tournament. John Dromgoole will be here. Bruce Dooley will be here. Stuart Frankie from Medina will be on the panel. Judy Barrett, that does a little publication called Homegrown, is going to be on the panel for the first time this year. So it'll be a lot of fun, like always. I will stay and answer questions as long as anyone likes, but you're not going to embarrass me if you get up and run off, so feel free. Yes, ma'am.
Bob, are any of these